What's up, guys? Just wanted to come in and say good morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day. The color shows up weird on camera, but this is green, I promise. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the RUGER RXM, how it compares as a Glock replacement, and then overall how it would be as a carry gun or as a duty gun. Before we get started, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below if you have any questions, concerns, or suggestions for new content ideas in the future, and we'll jump right in. So I had the chance recently to shoot the RXM, and I can say that in the very beginning, I was sort of disappointed. Everybody's complaints about the Glock Gen 3, which is the RUGER RXM is a Glock Gen 3 clone, I felt were still applicable to the RUGER. The only difference, really, I felt in the shooting experience was the gas pedal, and that's really about it. And it's a wimpy gas pedal at that. It's a very slightly pronounced thumb ledge. Other than that, it was not particularly impressive. The trigger was still pretty lame. It still felt like a brick. It's a very bricky gun if you've ever felt it. I know people give a lot of hate to the Glocks feeling like bricks, specifically the Gen 5, Gen 4, Gen 3, but the RXM is a brick. It is not a very comfortable or fun gun for me to shoot personally. I felt that the trigger reach was a little longer than standard, Glock 19, Glock 17, Glock 45. It had a weirdly long reach, which made it even harder to shoot for me personally. There are some redeeming qualities with the RXM as well. The chassis system is really cool, so you can do different grip modules. You can do a compact, subcompact, and then a full size. I think it's cool that it comes from the factory with a threaded barrel option. I think it's awesome that it's optics ready. I think all these things are super cool. I think Ruger's a great company, and I think Magpul's a great company. For those of you who don't know, Magpul makes the grip module for the gun. So I think those are great companies. It just doesn't do anything special. The biggest thing that I could think of the RXM being used for is a Glock replacement. And I look at it and I say, okay, well, $400, $450 for a RUGER RXM, or you could get a Glock 19, Glock 17, Glock 45, Gen 5 for $550. $100 difference really justifies for me going with the real thing. I think the Glock shoots better. I think the Glock's more comfortable, and I think you're getting just a better gun overall going with a Generation 5 Glock. That being said, the RUGER RXM is still a good gun. The biggest thing for me was just it's not a comfortable ergonomic gun to shoot. It's a 2x4 for sure. But it doesn't mean that that's its only purpose, right? It doesn't exist solely to be a Glock clone. It is just on its own. It's a good gun in itself. I just think whenever you try to be a better Glock than Glock, usually it doesn't work out. But as a standalone system, the RXM is awesome. It's got the adjustable grip modules like I talked about. You can get a subcompact, a compact, and a full size. It's got a threaded barrel from factory, so you can put a compensator on it. It's optics ready. It's made by Magpul and RUGER, which are two amazingly reliable companies. It's very affordable, which is another big thing. Low bore axis. It's not a fancy gun by any means, but it's cool. It's a nice gun. If you buy one of those and that's your everyday carry pistol, I think you're making a good decision. It's just, for me, when I look at that compared to just a regular Glock, it doesn't have enough redeeming qualities for me to go to something that I'm less familiar with, something that's less popular, and then just overall something that I don't think is quite as good. So that's really my thoughts on that. Especially right now when we're considering the Gen 6 Glocks just came out, the RXM is just not even close to the build quality, the comfort, the ergonomics, the shoot quality. It's not even close with any of these things. Again, it's a much cheaper gun, and it's supposed to be a budget Gen 3 clone. But as a Glock replacement, I would say you're better off just spending a little more money elsewhere, personally. Now, that being said, you can probably get one for like $400 on sale. If you've got $400 and not much else, and you need kind of a do-it-all gun, I think, like I said, you'd be making a good decision buying it. I just think if you had an extra $100, $150, $200 more dollars, you could really get a lot better elsewhere. And you can really break into some of the more like premium stuff. The RUGER is just a cheap Glock clone. It's what it is at the end of the day. It's got a couple cool features that I think are really appreciated by most people, but it is not a good Glock replacement for me personally. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Let me know what you think about the RUGER RXM, and I'll catch you in the next one.